Um, these are so we have a 3-time weekly stand-up, but the Wednesday one is where we do a little bit more high-level, kind of like sprint planning, talking about high-level priorities for the week and upcoming weeks. So tomorrow, our team, we're going to have a retrospective, in case anybody doesn't know, on the release.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to have that tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll be sending a meeting invite. I got to remind myself to do that. But my first impression on Monday, it was kind of going slow, but after that, I think people, I think the reaction was pretty good. We got a lot of the reactions that I think we all frankly expected, which are hard to combat. Where, oh, not another JavaScript framework. Yes, we tried to make it clear that it wasn't another JavaScript framework. Yes, how is this different from framework XYZ? Where we did, that's what the blog article is a lot about. But we don't draw hard contrasts. We say, oh, in other frameworks, blah 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 blah. Which, if someone knows other frameworks, they would know what we're talking about. But for beginners, or for people who aren't as knowledgeable, that doesn't really help them. But then again, if at the same time, I feel like it's in bad taste to beat up, at least for myself, to be beating up on other frameworks. Brian's much more comfortable with it, but I wrote the article, so I'll let him be.
I've heard from some people that the article was a lot of pretty long. There was almost too much information to digest at once, which is tough, right? Because we want to get all of this across.
Yeah, I responded to some of the comments about that in the Reddit. One person was like, "Oh, but look at Angular can just show a nice, simple example," and I try to explain that yes, CanJS shows those nice, easy examples on its homepage as well, but the purpose of DoneJS is far beyond just its live binding syntaxes and things like that. So we have this challenge now, and JavaScript MVC has traditionally always had it, but I think the good thing is now that I think we are in a different era where people do realize the value of all these things, and I think the reaction for a lot of the interest has come from Meteor people, because I think Meteor has done a good job of showing the value of the comprehensive framework. And I think we have to kind of join them in explaining it to people, the value, while also, of course, separating ourselves from them and showing value when compared to Meteor. But we'll talk about that more later. So let's talk about what you guys feel are kind of high-level priorities for the next 2 or 3 weeks. What should we be focusing on?
I think high level. I think evangelism, answering questions should definitely be the priority.
And specifically, I'd say answering those questions like, what does this do for me? Why should I try this framework? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, or just anybody that asks the question on Gitter and the forums or wherever, try to respond to them quickly.
We should collect a couple of DoneJS related article ideas, I think. If we can publish one a week or more, if more people join in, I think that would help a lot to go more in detail about certain parts of the technology. I do think there's a couple of things, at least, that I'd still like to clean up. It's not in a big scale in the testing area, but there's a couple of small things that I think will make it nicer. And I think 0.6, is that something we're going to do this year, or is that more?
Yeah, I mean,
0.6 is...
we have to make sessions work.
Yeah.
We have to make the place my order guide work. There's no, I mean, that's the single day training that I'm talking about, is going through that. So
we'll work on 0.6 and get that out fairly soon then.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, and I definitely think we need to make NPM 3 and 4 work, and we have to have the integration guide. So, like Matthew's already been working on that.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what David said. I've had an article idea I want to do because I've been working on my SSR talk, and I didn't realize like how much better ours is than everyone else's. Not just SSR necessarily, but like everything surrounding it, like our inline cache. Like no one, I mean, there's stuff that can do that, but like not like ours is like very polished. So I was thinking an article where, we have the features page which lists everything. I'd like to do an article where I highlight like, I don't know, like 10 features that are kind of unique. So yeah, I think just article ideas would be great.
Yeah, let's keep it to just kind of solidify the high level stuff. I agree that the high level goals should mostly be around, I think, evangelism and
You went total robot there.
okay, the high level goals. My headphones. Just trying to find where my headphones are. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
I think the high level goal should be around evangelism, and I think maintenance for the most part, and DoneJS's guide for them, because that's really bad, and that's a huge part of writing a DoneJS application is CanJS.
Oh, CanJS's guide.
Yeah, CanJS's guide. So, but within evangelism, I think articles are good. I mean, the fortunate thing is we could pretty much just cut and paste one of the features sections and just like make a new article out of it, and have like 12 articles written or however many features there are. We just expand on it a little bit, and we could do that probably really easily. But I think a big part of the evangelism effort, we can do a lot on our sites and we can do a lot on our blog, but I think a lot of what we need to be doing is the engagement side of things. So, when people are putting things on Twitter, there's a baby getting changed behind me. When people are tweeting, when people are posting on the forums questions, when people are on Reddit or wherever, we need to be responding to that as much as we can. And I think a lot of that's just going to, that responsibility is going to somewhat fall to me because I'm going to take that part of it really seriously. I think we should write blogs. I think we need to go where people are as much as we need to like have our own our own content. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but DailyJS shut down. I just saw it this morning.
I didn't. Oh, DailyJS did. I noticed.
Yeah, it shut down back in July. I noticed.
That week? Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I went to submit it there, and I saw
it sucks because that's like one of the best places to get traffic.
Yeah, but I think like the meetup stuff is gonna help a lot, actually.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have two confirmation. Well, I have one confirmation, and I have one probably, as I might be going next week in Nashville.
Okay, awesome. So let's. Are we kind of done? Any other thoughts about high-level priorities?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just break down maintenance. What I mean by that is, like, there's just a bunch of little CanJS things, little bugs here and there that we keep finding, and we just need to make sure that we're doing that. And one other comment about the meetup stuff. I do think it'd be good for other people at Pitovi to help with the meetup effort because, I think I'm going to hold off until asking everybody directly to start like going to meetups and.
Well, I already asked them yesterday, so sorry about that.
Hold off.
Well, I just said that it'd be great if anyone wants to do it.
Yeah.
And Joe volunteered.
Off was because I kind of wanted to see value proposition for myself a little bit. I wanted to see, okay, I might be going to Peoria on Wednesday, and that's going to take me like a 2-hour drive, and I might be talking to 10 people. Right? But then...
Well, that's different, though. Like, it's different versus, like, if it was your local meetup that you go to all the time.
Well, yes. Now, doing one meetup is great, but I think what we'd ask people to do is hit, like, the tiered meetups, right? Like, Chicago is a bigger city than most people live in, but Chicago, there's probably, like, 12 or 14 that I've reached out to, and I'm going to try to go to every one of them. And I want to see if, like, just what is the result of saturating a market with DoneJS, and instead of just doing one meetup. Because a lot of times I know with marketing there's a real effect where if people see the same kind of thing multiple times in kind of quick succession, it really gets stickier to them versus everybody here just does their one local meetup once, and that's it. I think if we're going to do it, I'm probably going to say to people, like, you know, we're really going to try to hit like 4 or 5, if possible, all within a month or a couple months of each other, and see if that works better. But that's why I was kind of waiting, because I wanted to see like how it went for us before basically saying, you know, people, part of your 40 hours a week, you're going to help plan and go to some meetups. Any other thoughts about that? All right. So let's talk about the actual stand-up part. So so just kind of go through things. This is what I talk about maintenance. There's a PMO bug that a few people have reported, like a little loading thing.
Sorry, I'm going to look it up. I didn't see that one.
People reported on, I think there's 2 people reported on Twitter, or I actually linked to, or someone did on Gitter and someone did on Twitter. The two people noticed that it's just showing loading on iOS.
Okay, I didn't get there yet.
Yeah, so we'll need someone to fix that. Probably David. I'll actually add you to it. So the meetups, I started announcing some of these. Some of them people started signing up for, which is pretty good. I'll give a bigger report on that next time. But I have the meetups that I've applied to. I've heard back from like 2 others this morning that I haven't responded to yet here. So I've heard back from probably like 7 or 8 of the. Did you guys get to all of yours? Oh, I never did Detroit. I forgot about Detroit. Everybody forgets about Detroit. Oh, I forgot about these 2. Probably because I never scrolled down far enough to actually see them. That's really funny. Because I was like, I'm not going to Lafayette, and I didn't actually realize there was these other 2 here. I got to do those. But David, Julia, Matthew, were you guys able to?
Yeah, I reached out to most of mine, all but one, because I'm going to talk to him tonight. And yeah, I've gotten responses.
David, were you?
I got to do the Seattle ones. But I did the Vancouver ones. I got a confirmation for Calgary for January because I started that whole thing.
Yeah.
Or helped start it, which is gonna be pretty good, and you by now get like 50 people, so I think it will be worth flying over.
How close are you to Seattle?
2.5 hour drive, right?
So I guess my question was, do you think that if we had something on the north end of Seattle, would that be the only training thing? Is that what you'd want to point people to for actually getting a day-long training? You think people would make the journey to Seattle for a day training, or do we need one a little bit, well, in Canada for that?
I haven't thought about that yet. I found like so far, it's like the tech community here is kind of interesting.
Well, we can talk about
There's definitely a big demand for people here to have some JS related stuff happening.
Yeah, but it's just, do we want to have two? I mean, well, I guess you're
two in a 2 hour range. Yeah, I know what you mean.
We can do it, but I'm about to announce the Seattle training, so it'd be good to time that with when you're like.
Who would do the Seattle one if enough people?
Well, you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Seattle, and I'm still trying to like get a feel here for what the best way is to set something like that up.
Well, I'm just going to announce it. I mean, I've already.
Yeah.
But you should be finish applying to.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. Julia?
Yeah, so I emailed everybody yesterday except for one of the meetups where I know the organizer, and I'll just talk to him. He's hosting a pre-party for NationJS, so I'll talk to him in person. I got one confirmed for Colorado. I was trying to get them because I'm going to Denver for 2 weeks in December, but they scheduled me for February, which is fine. I'm okay going back to Denver in February, so.
Cool. I might join you if it means I can get a day of skiing in.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so yeah, well, all this stuff is done.
Oh, and one more thing for me. I'm going to talk to Alexis about Dallas because Lyris and I wanted to go visit anyway next year.
Okay.
February. So I'm going to take that one.
Okay, cool. So spreading the word. Julia, did you get to the lobsters?
No, I'll do that right now.
Thanks.
I don't know. It's gonna be hard the next 2 months. It seems like most of the meetups I've seen are kind of at the end of the month, which happen to be holidays.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Like, I mean, a lot of the ones that I'm doing are going to be in January, February, and that's okay. But at least we've got them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Just make sure when you guys are booking them. Like, a lot of people, do the second Tuesday of every month. So already I've had a few of the meetups have conflicts. So, but at least one of the meetups, I was like, hey, I've got this conflict. They're like, okay, we can probably do it on a Wednesday. So you can ask for it sometimes, and they'll be willing to do it. I'm just going to delete these because the list is the so okay. And I just don't think we're going to do the Medium account. I think we should set one up, but unless you want to do that, Julia, it's just not like something that I feel is priority right now. I mean,
but what is going to be our main publishing platform? I mean, we have the blog, right? The Batovi blog.
Which you can make. You could probably set up Medium to cross-post to, right?
Yes, you can, but what we get out of I'm not sure what the advantage is. I think like it's great for people that write on different public like online publications and then just cross-post it to their own Medium. But I don't know if.
Yeah. The only thing that I like about Medium is like DoneJS has. I don't know how many followers it has on Twitter, but if we post to a DoneJS Medium account, it's going to get pushed to those people's news feeds. So it's like it's a lot better than just Twitter because it's like in your email inbox and you get a daily digest.
Is that something you can set up today then?
Yeah, I just need to have access to the DoneJS Twitter account.
I got the password. So it's via Twitter? I guess I don't. Well, we can talk about it later. I'm old. I'm not hip. I don't know really that much about it.
You just like get auto followed by everybody who follows you on Twitter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea then. So yeah, let's do that. Because that's 2,400 people. Matthew, how's the integration stuff coming?
It's coming good. spent a lot of time figuring out how to answer the DoneJS init questions. Had to write 2 libraries to make that happen, but I have gotten past that. So still writing the script. I would expect it's going to take me a couple more days to get the script working just locally. And then I'm not sure what to do about, to be honest with you, what to do about like automation because it's going to be slow. So I don't know.
It's not going to be slower than like CanJS's test suite, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is like if every time you did a commit to CanJS, it ran this, right?
Commit to CanJS.
Like if you wanted to make sure that like any CanJS commit did not break the guide, which is ultimately.
Yeah. Well, we're not. I mean, I think the thing that we're going to do is the plan is to use this integration guide when we make like official releases.
Official releases of DoneJS.
Yeah. So I think what we should do is because people can change their package definition. Let's say hypothetically we made a change to CanJS that made some inconsistency, even though it was like a change of CanJS that shouldn't have broken DoneJS. It does. Well, then people can go in and hard code their version of CanJS so it doesn't auto upgrade. Now, and that's kind of what we say people should do in any production situation is you should eventually just say, here, I forgot what the term is called, but these are the version numbers.
Shrink wrap. Yeah.
Shrink wrap, right? Now, what I see as DoneJS is essentially when we get time to release a new DoneJS, even if it's like a 0.54 or whatever, we will run these integration test suite to validate and verify essentially here's our kind of shrink wrap version. Yes, if people install it, it'll automatically upgrade to any newer ones, but it's like we can go in and say, okay, well, this is CanJS 2.3.4. It's essentially like a label on what is a tested version of everything that people could use as a guide to shrink wrap their application.
Okay.
Make sense? So we're not going to run this every time we change CanJS. We're going to run this every time we're like, okay, we've changed CanJS. Now we think we've changed CanJS. Maybe we made a little change in Steel. You know, there's a few things that we really want people to upgrade to. There's some fixes. Let's make sure the integration tests work. We run them. Now we update the package.json to point to these new versions.
Yeah, so it's like before we release a version of DoneJS, we run this.
Yeah.
On all the platforms.
Yeah.
But
not in every sub-library change. That would be terrible.
Right.
And they should be tested well enough where that's not necessary.
Okay. Well, that makes that part easier.
So just how you feel like how's this? I mean, any rough estimate for when you?
It's not going to be this week. Maybe next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Okay. That's Reddit. Just to get an idea of like how locked up you're going to be, and then you'll move on to NPM 3 and Node 4.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I mean, okay, so those are like so when you say Node 4, like.
Well, Node 4 is working, but NPM 3.
It's probably working, but do we want to make all of our libraries test in Travis on Node 4, which they're currently not?
Well, yeah.
No, I think they are because we set it to the latest Node version.
I didn't.
Okay.
Maybe some of them are.
We'll do this once this is done.
Okay.
The latest is 5 too, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So community page. This is reviewed. Adam, were you able to change the chat?
Yep, that went live yesterday. A bunch of stuff went out in the last PR that I did, but that should be live now.
The contributing guide. Did you get any time to work on that, Julia?
No, I haven't. I've been working on that graphic.
Yeah.
But...
No worries. But that graphic's more important. So sorry to like. There's you didn't no further explanation needed. I guess.
Okay.
Cutting you off. DoneJS menu in Chrome on iOS. Okay, yeah. do we have Alfredo or?
Yeah, I went ahead and implemented that dynamic animation time solution that James and I discussed in the open source channel, but I can still find ways to poke it and it'll not work. So I'm still looking into it. I mean, it really does seem to be like a timing thing. Like if you and where you're on the page and how far it has to travel is basically not lining up correctly with whenever the menu updates the location. So it's been tricky to get going. Like there's been at least 3 times where I think I've solved it just to find some way where if you poke it, it'll not work.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this needs to get wrapped up today. So if you find yourself struggling, then start pulling in me or other people to close this out, because this has been going on for a while. We need to get this a working menu.
Yeah, the menu has been getting more functional, but it's still but there are still situations like you found where like it just won't navigate to the right place.
If it's like I worry if the original approach is wrong. I don't know, because me it shouldn't be so weird, but I might be missing something. But I've built things like this before. But let me talk with me if you have more trouble.
Okay.
Place my order guide. I know we'll get to this eventually. Right? Or David, you were kind of taking a look at it, right?
Yeah, I still am. Like, I think I should be able to go through all of it today, but yesterday a couple of people needed some help, so I didn't get all the way through. But yeah, there's quite a couple of changes and improvements that we went through in the quick start guide that I think totally apply to the long guide as well. So hopefully today I'll finish the run through and then we can probably review and tweak it.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say, for Friday, I really want you moving over to CanJS's release, because I even noticed like our homepage, shows the old binding syntaxes. There's a million little things that need to happen for a good official 2.3 release article.
Okay, so what we want an article, but what are the things that we need to change before that?
We should we should run through the guide and make sure that the guide, if not written perfect, is updated with the right syntaxes.
Yeah.
We need to make sure the homepage is updated with the right syntaxes. Probably should just do a real quick look through of all the documentation. Mm-hmm. There's probably some examples that need to be updated with the right syntaxes. There's probably like a couple days work of just finding syntaxes, and then there's also some bugs that need to be worked through. That would be good to kind of, once we officially release it, to have fixed.
Mm-hmm.
The select one I've been working on, and I just don't know what to do with it, but that's another issue. So there's just a few little things like that I kind of want to get DoneJS really done, which place my order kind of needs to be somewhat functional and working, so that obviously needs to take priority. But then we need to nobody's going to use DoneJS if CanJS looks sloppy. We put a really nice coat of paint on JavaScript MVC, not a coat of paint, like steel armor, but meanwhile DoneJS is getting a little rusty, which is like the heart, or CanJS, which is like the heart of DoneJS. So
no, I totally agree. That's well put. We can probably hopefully get those up quick then.
Okay. Cool. So I think that's it. So Adam, my plan. So you're 50%. I should say Adam, not T. D. Yeah. You're 50% on.
You just say big AB. Everybody does.
Yeah, big AB. You're 50% on open source, right? Going forward.
That's right. Yep.
So you're going. I think the plans for you is that you're going to be the. I don't know what the role is. Just like the jack of all trades that does everything, and you're also going to be spending a little bit of time on GitHub.
Cool.
Specifically, what I'd like you to get started with is, so we have the community page, and we have these calendars for this meeting and for the training meeting. I really want that to be with GitHub, and we're starting to actually make sales with GitHub, which is good, but only Mikhail knows how to make a custom GitHub right now. He's the only person in Bitobi, which is actually kind of easy. So, and he converted it over to a DoneJS app, but it's not nice or easy yet. So I'm thinking your first task is going to be working with him to get GitHub on DoneJS's community page, so we can, where it shows like upcoming events. Well, it actually shows like these meetings upcoming, if there are meetups upcoming, or if there's the weekly training is upcoming, whatever that is upcoming in a little GitHub. And you'll be solving that problem for us. At the same time, you'll be learning how to make custom GitHubs and probably documenting it. As kind of an example on how to write like a DoneJS plugin, which would be useful anyways. So that's kind of the idea that he and I and Brian have been talking about for your effort for a little bit.
Neat. Okay. Cool.
And then when you're not doing that kind of stuff, so there might be also, while you're doing that, there's just like probably a lot of little like, you know, Alfredo's going to finish off the menu problem, but there's probably a million other little things like that just, and then eventually you might be the person who works on the new version of DocumentJS.
Cool.
Maybe. We'll see what happens, and just like solving CanJS issues here and there. In some ways, you're going to be like, you know, like you're going to be what I used to do a lot of.
I'll be little Justin.
No, I think like, you know, Sauron had his mouth. That's what you'll be.
That's way less appealing.
I guess it does get his head cut off, right?
Can I be like the Black Orc or something at least?
Come on. You can be one of the riders. Black Riders, I guess.
All right. Yeah, sure. Rider.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else? Oh, Adam. Atom. We forgot about you. What's your status? What are you working on?
I'm working on Bitobi.com stuff right now, just waiting for anything that comes in for open source. So if you guys have anything, find anything, or think of anything, just let me know and I'll jump on it.
Yeah, we should. Okay. We'll talk about. Yeah.
I didn't have opinions about things that we could do, but when you guys started off the meeting talking about, you know, making things clearer and things like that, a lot of bells were ringing in my head about graphics or things that we could do to make things easier for users to understand. So there's opportunity there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my thought is if there's something that you're going to work on towards open source next, it would be like getting DoneJS designed so it can be, or DocumentJS designed so it can be responsive, since you already kind of worked on that. But I gotta talk and figure, like, a lot changes once Levi's happens, so I don't know exactly time frames. So we'll have to figure out what happens there.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the DocumentJS stuff and eager to jump into that as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's our, in terms of maintenance, it's our biggest pain point always in every. I mean, it's one of our biggest pain points. So at some point, that's gonna have to. People are really gonna have to fix that up. All right, anything else?
Yeah, real quick, got React working with server-side rendering yesterday.
So what is that? Yeah, I saw that. Awesome, but I'm not sure what that meant. So does that, I mean, I assume it means that you're using CanSSR, but my question was, or Can Simple DOM, but my question was why?
I mean, for the Levi's project, we're hoping to use. They want to use React, but they also want us to do it. So we're going to be using our tools as much as possible.
No, I'm sorry. I know that reason, but I didn't understand like why React already has render to string. So what was the idea behind doing it that way?
CanSSR includes a lot more than render to string.
Yeah, you can get like other plugins to render on the server as well, and use jQuery on the server.
Yeah. Okay, I know, but so I mean, is the plan there to? What would be really interesting to me is, are we gonna make like React? I don't know. I know a decent amount of React, but I don't know. How besides render to string, how it works server side, or like enough to know how we blend what we do really, really well server side with like what React offers. Because the big problem that we've solved with DoneJS that React doesn't solve is the kind of flow issue where, okay, we want to make a custom element. That custom element is going to make requests on its own, and we're going to like pause rendering essentially to allow that other things to kind of come in, which is explained in the article. Is that something we're still intending to provide in Done React or whatever?
Yep. And that's the nice thing about getting it to having it work with CanSimpleDOM, right? And CanSSR, because we can still collect, like we can pretty much use it the exact same way, except for the view engine is different.
Yeah. So is there going to be still like a root view model, and we're going to kind of have our own kind of component tree? Like, that's the big question that I'm wondering is React's custom elements, how they work, is pretty darn different than how CanJS's CanComponent works. Are we going to build our own kind of similar version, or are we going to rely upon how their custom elements work? Like, how does waits for get passed down through to everything? Or would be really interesting, Ryan, if you really want to be super cool, which you are really cool, but if you want to be super cool, you could do what Matthew and I have talked about, or start that, because I don't know if there's enough time, where you don't have to have waits for. You simply have you overwrite every single possible what's it called? Asynchronous method that the DOM provides, and you track all of them, and you know when that page load is finished. And then you don't even need waits for anymore. You could write that.
All right. I need to research what waits for is actually doing.
Well, a bigger problem is that to get a big feature of CanSSR is like it returns the correct CSS. So getting that working relies upon using CanImport, which doesn't exist in React. So,
but can't you just import that in your components? Like import the CSS in your components?
You can, but for CanSSR to know which CSS is associated with which request, it uses CanImport to know that. Probably not the time to explain it, but
okay,
that's how it links a request to all the right CSS, I guess. So you need something like that. You need like a CanImport kind of thing for React to probably solve it.
Yeah, you almost, well, yeah.
I don't know how you're going to do progression.
I would suggest setting up a meeting between David, Matthew, and myself before you get too deep into it, because the ideal solution would be we have exact parallels, but that work. The ideal solution for like React folks, if we are going to make a done React, it would be, there would be like a CanImport. There'd be all the same parallels, but the tricky part is the CanImport and how the view modeling stuff gets passed down. The bypass for that is what I talked about, but then there's all the complexities that Matthew talked about. So there's an ideal solution out there, but it's kind of hard to do. there's probably intermediate ones that are okay. We should.
I don't know if it helps at all, but the entry point to the app is not an actual view, though. It's just a plain JavaScript file that exports a view model and a render method.
Yeah.
And that's how we were able to make it work. And so we didn't need can import or any of that. It was just plain. It was plain React code, and the actual inserting of the DOM.render is the actual method that puts it in the DOM.
Well, cut you off, Ryan. We'll have to talk about this later because I also have to get ready for the thing, and this is kind of way past stand-up territory.
Okay, cool.
But let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Talk about this later for sure. You might write something up that we can discuss too, if you have time.
Cool.
All right. Anything else from anybody? All right. Take it easy.
Go team.
Yeah.
See you next Wednesday, or everybody here next Friday. All right, bye.